Hello, everyone. I'm Katie McManus, business strategist and coach, and I am tickled tonight to be with Karen Strauss, who is the owner of Hybrid Global Publishing. She's actually the woman who's making my book a reality, even though I'm really behind on finishing the writing part. She's out of New York, and she's an absolute delight. Karen, thank you so much for being with us this evening. How are you?
My pleasure. It's so wonderful to be here, Katie. Thank you.
This is so much fun. And I want to out ourselves because this is actually a promo to a much longer conversation that we are planning on Sunday afternoon, Eastern Standard Time, on Clubhouse, where you and I are going to be going on and really helping people figure out if a book would be a good business strategy for them to grow their business.
Exactly. We want you to come at 1 o'clock Eastern Time or whenever you can, and ask us any questions you might have about publishing. Is writing a book worth your while? Is now the right time? Katie's fantastic at strategies for growing your business as a whole. So anything you want to ask us or even talk about, if you've published a book before, what's been your experience with the book? Let's just brainstorm and get some great ideas going.
Yeah. And it's going to be so much fun. It's going to be really interactive. And for those of you who are tuning in with us right now, welcome. We're streaming this to both of my Facebooks, to LinkedIn, and to YouTube. And we want this to be interactive. So if there's anything that we say that you have a question about, or you want a question on a completely different topic, please do pop it in the comments. And just so you know, we're on StreamYard. Sometimes StreamYard acts a little squirrely and doesn't show us all the comments. So if I'm not calling you out, not that I'm ignoring you. You did nothing wrong. It's just that the technology is failing us. But please, if you have any questions or have something to add to the conversation, please do comment here. But again, if you want to have a more in-depth conversation, be able to talk to both Karen and me on Sunday, we're offering that space on Clubhouse at 1 p.m. Eastern, as Karen said. And we will be posting that link tomorrow. So you'll be able to save it and add it to your calendar and all the things. But Karen, I wanted to dive right in because I know when I first started my journey, running my business, I thought, yes, I will eventually write a book. But in my mind, it was, I'll write a book to make money on the book. And I got very quickly opened up to the idea that that is not actually how you make money as a business owner in writing a book, typically.
Typically, that's absolutely true. The average, sad to say, if you're not published in a traditional manner, the average sales you might make are maybe 500 copies of the book, in a year. And so, we don't write books to get rich on the sales of the book. It's how you use the book that might make you rich, actually.
Right. And so, of course, we'd all love to be in the J.K. Rowling position where you have this immense hit that makes you a billionaire and you're able to give someone away. So you're no longer a billionaire, but you're still a multimillionaire. Probably not going to happen in this situation. Unlikely. But there are ways to monetize your book, to support your business, to increase your income and influence with your business.
Exactly.
And I would love to pick your brain just so people can get a sense of how that works.
Sure. So writing a book really is about content, and you can repurpose your content any which way you want. So we've had authors who write books and then they start a consulting, agency or, coaching. And so they create a course around their book. And so you can bundle your book and your online course. People get to know you. The book is really the entry point of how people get to know who you are.
Yeah.
And so what we're talking about is, giving you the authority and the credibility so that people will want to work with you. Yeah. So that if you figure the return on investment of writing a book, let's say it might cost you $5,000, let's just say, to actually do the book by the time you edit it and get the cover done and, all the things that you need to do. Don't think about how many copies you need to sell to make that money back. What you need to think about is how many clients do I need to get? How many new clients do I need to get to make my money back? The answer is usually one.
Yeah.
maybe 2. And and if you can't add 1 or 2 clients, maybe you should think about doing something else.
Absolutely. And, we both have a person in common. Who wrote a book and, paid for a ghostwriter, did all thing. I'm not going to name him because I don't want to out the number. But spent about $30,000 on a ghostwriter and all these things. That is really common in the industry, but was able to get in the door for a very well-paying corporate client and immediately made it back at like twofold.
That is amazing. Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, you have to think about what are ways to grow your business. So one of it is to write a book. And for instance, if you want to be on speaking stages or, get an interview on a podcast or radio shows and, and to be more visible. So writing a book is one of the best ways to do that. If you're an event planner or you're a producer at a radio show, I know they actually have a sigh of relief when they've written a book, because particularly radio show hosts and podcasts, it's like, oh, great, now I know what to ask.
Right.
So because you've got the content, and if you wrote a book, you must be somewhat credible and know what you're talking about.
Right.
So, and in if you want to get on speaking stages, event planners and people who book speakers are always, one of the first questions is, have you written a book?
Right.
And they want to see it because they really want to believe that you're an expert in your industry. And so you're much more likely to get that gig if you're competing against someone who hasn't written a book.
Right. Right. And for those of you who are like, oh my God, like, who am I to write a book? This is the topic that I was talking about yesterday. Who the hell am I to do this thing? Well, if you know enough things that you could write a book on it, you're at this level. You need to be doing this. Okay, you absolutely are that person, are that authority. If the amount of thoughts you have about something could actually fill up, 100 pages in a book, that's enough.
Exactly. I mean, that's one of our number one misconceptions or a failed belief, basically, right? So that, who am I to write a book? Well, I don't have a PhD. I'm not a writer. All of those things. And so, but you are an expert in your field. If you have a business, if you're an entrepreneur, it's clearly something you must be passionate about, something you're helping other people with. So think about how you're helping other people doing what you're doing, and then what your method is. Do you have a signature program? Do you have 5 steps or 6 keys to achieving, whatever it is? And that's a book.
Yeah, 100%. And this book, I mean, it lands in the hands of people. I mean, one of my coaches wrote a book, and it's literally the reason why I ended up being his client, because he gave it as a gift to me, and it was just kicking around my apartment for, 6 months. And every time I saw it, I'm like, oh gosh, and I never even read it. Like, no offense, I'm sorry. I read the first chapter, but I'm like that with books in general. I get excited and I buy them all, and then I don't finish half of them. But it just kept that person top of mind for me. And every time I'd get stuck on something or frustrated or feel like I wasn't moving ahead fast enough, I think, you have this person is offering a service that will move you along faster.
That's true. And what's interesting is Amazon has become the number one search engine for solving people's problems. What is the pain point? They're going to go that they actually took over. They are 56% of all product searches now versus Google, which is, I can't do math, like 44%.
I can't do math either. You're in good company.
Oh my God. So
if I could go back to my math teachers who were like, you're not going to have a calculator at your fingertips all the time, I'd be like,
hello.
Of course we are.
Unbelievable. Now we can do it on our watch.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So So exactly. So if I'm looking on Amazon, it's how can I lose 20 pounds?
Right.
Or, what's the best way to do my taxes? Whatever it is I'm looking for, how do I grow my business? So I type that keyword phrase into Amazon, and you want your book to be on the first page.
Yeah.
And then they click on you. And that, again, like I mentioned before, is the easiest and most cost-effective way that people are going to get to know you, what you believe, what your philosophy is, and they're going to click on it, probably buy your book or your ebook, and then it's highly likely they'll get in touch with you as well to talk to you.
Yeah. I mean, to be discoverable online. There's a lot of talk. One of my marketing guy, Tyler, and I were talking about this previously, that some security changes are happening with Apple. And so it's going to be a lot harder to be discoverable online. So the more ways someone can discover you online organically by being able to purchase your book or SEO or having an effective blog or being present on social media, it all helps. And having an asset like a book is just such an easy thing on social media to just go back and talk about all the time.
Exactly. You can take, one step, 2 step, 3 steps. Just talk about the little nuggets, and do postings on LinkedIn or Facebook. You can do little 2-minute tips, and just do it on video, and start posting that. So you can have a whole YouTube channel just on tips. So yeah. There's a whole lot of things that you can do with books. Like one of the things we do is if we're at a speaking event, for instance, and are we familiar with the concept of lead magnet?
We are, but there may be people watching who aren't. So let's flesh it out for them, because I want this to be useful and I want it to really make sense to everyone watching.
Great. So if you're speaking at a conference, and a lead magnet would be something you might give away for free, a quiz, or a poll of some sort. If you're an author, you might give away a chapter of your book. So what happens is you post a link in the chat and say, come get my first chapter, on my book. It's for free, or you download my ebook, it's for free. And then what happens is they click on this link, and they usually come to some kind of landing page, and they're going to fill in their email, and maybe their phone number, but certainly you're going to get their email. And then they're going to click and they're going to get the download, whatever that might be. And that's called a lead magnet, which means when you have a book and you're speaking at a conference and there's 500 people there, 200 or 300 people actually might come to your launch page, download your chapter. You're going to add now 200 to 300 new people to your list.
Yeah.
And then what you're going to do is you're going to get in touch with them.
Yeah.
And say, I noticed, that you downloaded a chapter or my ebook. I would love to have a conversation with you, and you give them your calendar link. And, that's how you get new clients from books, from speaking.
Yeah. And I also want to tie into, if they do download the chapter, and they're like, oh, this is good, I should go and buy the book. You've just sold a book for one. And I don't know if this number has changed, but I think like 7 years ago, I heard this fact, and I know it's true because this is how I buy, is someone who buys from you once, even if it's a very small thing, is something like 70% more likely to buy from you again versus someone else. So even if you're selling a $12 book, and then you have a $2,000 group program, and then like a $12,000 one-on-one program, and then some elite thing, like oftentimes a buyer will start with that smaller thing and then jump up to the next one, and then jump up to the next one, and then jump up to the next one, if they continue to get value and grow with you.
It's true. Well, people do business, as we know, with people that they know and they like and they trust.
Yes.
Right? So it's the mantra.
Yes.
And the a great way to get to know someone is by reading their book.
Right.
right?
Right.
And if it's a Kindle, it could be 99 cents, it could be $2.99, whatever it is,
Right.
it could be under $10. And it's a great way, it's a great introduction,
Right.
to who you are, what you're about, and what you do,
Right.
or, and how you serve people.
Right. Right. And it's so funny, as we're talking through this, I'm trying to remember all the selling points why I decided to work with you. And really, when I showed up to our sales call, I'd already decided that I was going to work with you because my coach had said, you have to work with Karen. And so I want to talk really quickly about, because I could totally write something and then self-publish. That's a lot of work. And I know so far, the cover of my book is already designed.
Yay.
It's freaking beautiful. I'm so excited for it.
You have to start posting the cover.
Am I allowed to?
Oh yeah, I want you to.
Yeah. Oh, okay, great. I didn't know. Okay, so everyone, you're gonna keep an eye on my book cover, so that'll get the fire lit for me to finish writing it.
Exactly.
You did this beautiful job of helping me figure out what the outline needed to be and the things that I needed to cover and the things that really I don't have to throw in the book. Help me figuring out what the title is and all those things. But what are the other benefits to working with a hybrid publisher?
So, with most of us as hybrids, there are different. One of the things I just want to give your audience a tip, which is, there are many different types of service publishers out there, hybrid publishers. If you're not going to self-publish, what you want to do is make sure that they're legitimate, publishers or service people. And so, a great thing to do is to check out the Independent Book Publishers Association, IBPA. And they have developed a whole criteria for what constitutes a legitimate hybrid publisher. So one of those things is, that the author owns the rights to their books. No hybrid publisher is going to take your rights. And as entrepreneurs, that's very important to us. So it is kind of not a great thing about traditional publishing, because they do buy the rights to your book and then you don't own any of your content. So, as entrepreneurs, a great way to go is hybrid.
So that anytime you want, you can take chapter 3 or chapter 7 and make it a lead magnet and pop it online, and it's no big deal. No one's going to sue you.
Exactly right.
Perfect. Love
exactly
that.
right. So you can do a book, you can do a trailer, you can do whatever, and you don't need anybody's approval to do it. And right. I think we as entrepreneurs like that.
We do. Yeah. Yes. We like control. I think it's honestly like entrepreneurship. I think it goes towards people who are either type A or control freaks or both.
Or both. Right.
Yeah.
I think one goes with the other.
But, I know.
Yeah. So, but I think as I've gotten older, I've gotten less type A because.
Yeah, you mellow out over time.
Mellow out a little bit.
I'm looking forward to mellowing out on that side.
Yeah, a little bit. So I'm a little happy about that.
Yeah.
So the key thing about working with a good hybrid though is they give you the experience of what it would be like if you were publishing in a traditional way, which means that you have a whole team of people with you. And it's the one thing I learned about being in business and to grow my business is you must have team around you. You cannot do this all yourself. So just like that, if you're self-publishing, you're all alone. So you don't know who to hire as an editor. In fact, there's so many different kinds of editing. What's developmental editing, ghostwriting, line editing, copy editing, you have to know the difference.
Right.
And so, and then we have a team of people that do that. And then of course with the interior design as well. So we have the vetted people, the good hybrid publishers will have their team of people that they've worked with for years. And so you don't have to go around asking or checking on Google or hiring someone, from another country that you're not really sure that they're going to show up.
Right.
So that's really the key thing about a hybrid. So we're kind of soup to nuts. We can help you write the book. We can help you, and then we make sure it's edited and the interior design and the cover design, and all the things that are production things that you don't want to do yourself, or why should you do yourself?
Mhm.
If you're not an expert at it, you shouldn't do it. Like, I would not do my own taxes. You could just wind up visiting me in jail. So, like, what's the point? So some things you just can't skimp
Yeah.
about, and
Yeah.
that's one of them, in my opinion. And then the all important marketing. And so that's why I'm saying to you, Katie, that to put up your cover is the
Yes.
very first, point of marketing, right?
Mhm.
Pre-marketing your book. People are going to love it. They're going to comment on it. They're going to look for it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
It's so funny because I saw it and I was like, oh, this has to be a secret because it's not published yet. And so I texted it secretly to like my best friends and my business BFFs who are part of my crew and my coaches and my parents. And everyone's super excited. But I was like, oh, but I can't post it online yet.
Oh, and we didn't talk about that. But yes, you can post it online whenever.
Okay, good to know.
And it also makes it real. So
Yeah,
that, you have to get your book done then.
I know, right?
You promised it to the world.
I know. And I told everyone. And now every time I'm on a client call, my client's like, oh, how's your book coming? I'm like, shut up. Stop talking right now. We're talking about your business.
No, you have to change your whole thinking. It's
I know.
I have a cover. You have to see it.
Yeah. It's funny. It's I think it's kind of the curse of having ADD. I is really hyper focused, but also I know when I start working on something, like it's going to take over the whole day. And so it's like I have to block off like whole days of time to devote to the book, because also I have a hard time when I know there's an interruption coming and I'm doing creative work. It's really hard for me to get really into the creative work when I anticipate, okay, at 2:00 I have to stop.
Gotcha.
It's really funny. So, and just a little PSA for people with ADD, if you are planning on doing some big creative project and you're having a hard time getting in, by doing it right before work or something, just know it's super normal. It's something that I've learned to kind of schedule around in my own ADD-ness.
Very smart. And you can also, what's nice, you don't have to write your book in a linear fashion.
Right.
So, when I was writing mine, it was, okay, I don't want to be creative and write about marketing now, but what I want to do is I'm more in the head of, let me do some research.
Yeah.
And find statistics. So I'm going to start just write, on Google,
right.
Or my definitions of editing and what is typesetting, what is metadata. So that was, that's when I'm in a different kind of headspace.
Right.
So I didn't write the chapters in a linear fashion, but the key to getting the book done is the outline.
Right. And I love what you said about vetting editors, because in my mind, I think, okay, cool. Absolutely. There are a million kinds of editors out there. I could write my book and it's meant to tell people, hey, I'm an authority in my space. Here's some information about what I do. Here's some instruction. But really, like, if you want more of this, this is the window into you working with me. Right. Whereas if I'm working with a publisher like you, who's already vetted an editor who understands that is the business play here, they're going to edit towards that purpose. Whereas a different editor could be like, oh, well, you're telling this really nice story about you and your mom.
Right. It's a memoir.
Yeah. It's a memoir. Or someone else could be like, no, you need to expand and tell them every single little tiny step that they need to do in this. And it's like, well, I'm giving them really good value. I'm giving them really good insight as to what is important here. But also, like, this is something I cover with my paid clients. It'd be a disservice to them if I gave it all away in this book for $12.
Exactly. Well, first, the key, there are two things I have to say about that. One is, I think it'd be impossible really to give everything away that you teach and all the value that you give in a book.
Yeah.
However, I'm also of the mind that I can give away my best stuff, and I could speak about it and I could write it down in a book. And the truth is, most people can't do it themselves anyway.
Right.
And so this is great, brilliant stuff, but they're going to need me to help them actually bring it to fruition and to life. Right. So that, other people feel differently. My feeling is, let's share, let's do it. Obviously if people are paying a lot of money for a high mastermind or a high there are some key things
Right.
you
And
keep.
there's customization in that as well. Like there's what is going to work specifically for my business, my circumstances, and my personality.
That's right. That's
Just
exactly right.
come across in a book.
A book,
Absolutely.
I won't come across it in a book, but it gives you an idea of how I could work with you,
Mhm.
to customize it.
Right. It's so funny. We're talking about this, and I'm thinking about during the pandemic. I went to the bookstore and I bought a ton of plants because or I'm a book on plants, and then I ordered a bunch of plants because I was kind of depressed and I needed something to take care of before I got the puppy. And then I bought a book on two books on how to run a marathon, and I read them both cover to cover. And have I gone running since? No.
No.
Just because you buy the book doesn't mean you're going to take the action.
I think I have 70 cookbooks in my house. So I live in New York City, for God's sakes. My kitchen's like this big. So
you have every restaurant available to you within walking distance.
Absolutely. But I do love to cook, and I love cookbooks, so I have them all. And when I can, when BC, the modern BC before COVID hit, I did like to do some entertaining, and I had a house in Pennsylvania with a huge kitchen. It was my dream kitchen. Yeah. And so that was really fun. So then I got to use some of my cookbooks.
Yeah, that's so nice. Yeah, I mean, and so many things coming through my brain right now. Yeah, so when thinking about writing your book, think about, can you do it on your own? And I can tell you, as someone who actually is very self-driven, I generally can't do stuff on my own. I need some hand-holding. So there are options out there for you. And also, don't be afraid to share too much, because people probably aren't going to act on it anyway. It's not like you're going to be like cannibalizing your own business in this way. Never. Right.
You won't be. In fact, they're going to be more drawn to you. Right. If you give away good stuff, they're going to go, wow, this is great value. If I talk to them in person, what more could they do for me?
Right. So you work with a lot of coaches. Who is your ideal client?
You.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah.
In a lot of ways, that's true. That I like.
Just better with deadlines.
Better
with
deadlines. Exactly. I like high energy people who are really serious about growing their business. And book is top of mind for them.
Yeah.
And they understand the value of what a book can do for them and their business. So that really is my ideal client. And, I don't expect anybody to be a writer, and although, as somebody said the other day, it's kind of like, they've come out with a book and they say, I've written this book, but I'm not a writer. And then the guy goes, you are a writer. You've written a book. So you're a writer. So I wouldn't worry about not being a writer, because that's what we're here for. We can help you, enrich it and edit it and, put it together so that it makes sense. It's really more about what's in your brain, what's in your, how are you servicing your clients? And so I love to work with people who are really doing good in the world. They understand their purpose, and what their end goal is, and they understand how a book can fit into that.
Right. And I love that comment. It's funny. Everyone has a different definition of what makes a writer. I post to LinkedIn almost every day, and my dad seems to think that it's like this really serious blog. And a friend of his has a daughter who works for LinkedIn, and he made sure to tell her about me. And I'm like, no.
Don't you love dads? They're so supportive. I love it.
I know. He's just gonna bust when the actual book comes out.
He will. Well, let's do it.
So I want to make sure people know if everyone who's watching, and everyone who's watching now, or if you're watching this replay, I want you to think really, really long and hard about what is going to serve you in your business best. And having a book builds such incredible authority. I mean, I already know, post-COVID, when the world really, really opens back up and we're back to normal, I can already imagine the pride of being at a holiday cocktail party and someone asking me, about what I do and say, oh, well, I'm a published writer and or a published author and I run a business and all this stuff, like I can already feel that swell in my chest. And I already know that it's going to pay off for my business big time. And it's barely done. Okay. So the cover's done. I'm still writing it, like all this stuff. It's the energy is just so incredible. So think really long and hard about whether or not you want to do this. If this is something that you want to be able to say at those cocktail parties. And if you do want to get in touch with Karen, what is the best way to get in touch with you?
Email me at karen@hybridglobalpublishing.com.
Okay. Put this because I can comment, but you can't. So let me put
No,
it
I can't comment. Exactly. Karen@hybridglobal. Oh, you have me at Strauss Consultants, but that's okay too.
Oh, okay. Got it. Sorry.
That's okay. All right. We can switch to that.
From my email. Sorry.
Katie Strauss at StraussConsultants.com. That'll get to me too.
Okay, great.
Do it now. I mean, do it now. And I'd love to, get in touch with you and, and talk with you about seeing if writing a book is a good fit for you.
Yeah. And I'm just seeing if I can get your other email. Where is it? And I can speak very honestly about the process here. Having someone holding your hand through this process, because here's the thing about doing anything new. Oftentimes people chicken out very early on because they're like, oh, well, I just don't know how. I don't know how. And like, they don't want to get it wrong and they don't want to waste time or money or energy or all three. And it's really easy to do with a big project like this. There are a lot of different ways that you could, go the wrong way. And I can say, like, from all the recommendations I had of Karen before I started working with her, I feel so comfortable that I'm in the right hands to support me through this whole process.
Thank you.
And it really does, like, it gives some validity to what it is that you're doing. Because so many people can say that they're writing a book and it never happens. Right?
Well, a lot. In fact, the statistics are, about 90% of people, if you ask them, they say, I want to write a book someday. I want to write a book. And really maybe 2% get it done.
Right.
So, it really, really needs to be, like I said, top of mind, but it's not as hard as you think it is. And in fact, if I can mention, we do these 2-day retreats called the Big Leap Retreat. We just came off one this weekend where we teach people in 2 days. We actually get our outlines done and the talking points and where we're going to add stories, and we do one-on-one coaching with you. And then you actually get to talk. You write a synopsis of your book and you actually do a 2-minute talk to a panel of experts, on your book, so that it becomes really real. And it's amazing the breakthroughs people have, and the amount of ideas that flow through. And having an outline is like your GPS system. Yeah. You wouldn't think of taking a long distance trip without your GPS system. And that's really the key to writing a book, is having that outline. Yeah.
Yeah. Just like writing a research paper in college.
Right. I wrote a lot of those.
Yeah. Yeah. Same here. I always did the night before those. This whole procrastinating thing. Yeah. This whole procrastinating thing is like really on brand for me, I guess.
Well, I always got a lot done under a lot of pressure. So,
right.
So I guess we have to put a deadline for you, September.
I know, you have to start getting a little mean. Well, you don't have to be mean, but yeah, like maybe, threatening
maybe more insistent. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, anyway, thank you so much for joining me this evening. This has been so much fun. I hope we get to do it again live. And I'm so excited for our Clubhouse on Sunday. That's going to be so much fun. And again, for those of you who are watching and you have any questions about writing your book, publishing it, leveraging it to grow your business and make more money and have more impact, you want to show up to that. We're going to be posting those links tomorrow on all of our social medias. And that's going to be at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Clubhouse. So if you don't have the app, you're going to have to download it for that day. Anything else you want to add, Karen, before we end for the evening?
I just want to thank you, Katie, for inviting me to be on the show. You're so much fun. And I can't wait. The next time you're going to have the book done. So, we'll be able to sell some here.
I know. I am so excited. All right. Well, thank you again for joining me, and everyone, thank you for tuning in this evening. If you're watching the replay and you want to reach out to Karen, the email is in the comments. Thank you again. I'm Katie McManus, business strategist and coach. This is Karen Strauss from Hybrid Global Publishing. Have a great night, everyone.
Bye.